how I got into this mix.
Hey, what's up everybody? This is Derrick Broze of the Conscious Resistance Network, and today I'm going to talk with you about Freedom Cells and Standing Rock. So several of you may already be aware that I went to Standing Rock as a supporter and as an activist, a journalist, 3 times since August, late August, middle, late October, and just recently here in December. And I in no way was, a major part of this camp in any way. I came there to support. I helped out here and there at Sacred Stone Camp, and I traveled between both the Ocheti camps, the Red Warrior camps, the Rosebud camp, the Frontline Treaty Camp, and Sacred Stone. I did make some friends, I interviewed people, and did all that type of stuff, but I just want to say that my perspective here is really as somebody who is a supporter of indigenous struggles, and also as an activist myself and as an organizer in my community. I do think that there are some valuable lessons that can be learned from this event and can be used for future tactics and combating state violence and just in general how our organizers come together and how our movements come together. So with that, I'd like to suggest a few different things. Specifically, we're going to focus on freedom cells. If you are unfamiliar with the topic of freedom cells, please go to freedomcells.org. Check out my video, What is a Freedom Cell? Check out 10 tips for building a freedom cell. Introduction to the Freedom Cell Network. There's several videos out there, and there's some talks I've given that go in more in depth about the issue and the concept. But essentially, it is a group of 8 to 10 people who come together for mutual aid to prepare for emergencies, to prepare for any type of situation where community is going to be absolutely necessary. Also, for this mutual aid group to educate each other on a particular topic, maybe permaculture, maybe history, philosophy. And so it's preparedness, it's training, having everybody in the Freedom Cell know how to use encrypted forms of communication or have some form of self-defense or firearm, whatever your group may choose. And also medical, being everyone in the group being able to do CPR. And also as a way to attack certain topics and certain projects. So your Freedom Cell goes out and builds a community garden, or you go out and you have action days where you clean up the neighborhood, or if it comes down to it, you go cop watch and defend somebody in the community who needs just extra cameras on them. Maybe eventually you get to the point where CPS is trying to intervene and take someone's children away unjustly. You come in together, you call in several freedom cells that link up physically and prevent the theft, the kidnapping from taking place. So there's a number of ways that this can be applied. I keep thinking of more and more every single day. And one of the areas is here at Standing Rock. And again, this applies to any sort of decentralized large movement. I do believe in decentralization. I believe that sometimes there may be a place for hierarchy, there may be a place for natural leaders to come forth, but I do think that it should be a spontaneous type of order that happens. And then, of course, if you recognize certain strength, people can focus on those particular areas without it having to be a command authority type situation. We can yield to people with more knowledge and more skills in certain areas without, again, it leading into the power dynamic of control over other people. So it ends up being just free people coming together for a common goal and for a common purpose. That's what we're after. That's what I'm after. So when you have a situation like Standing Rock, you have thousands, tens of thousands of people coming from all around the country, from places, far and wide, with different tactics and different ideas on how the situation should be resolved or what methods should be employed to achieve the goals. So with Standing Rock, you specifically had a call to protect the water, defend the earth, but more specifically to fight against this oil pipeline. And whether or not this is your issue, again, I think there's valuable information that you should take from this. Whether or not you support the fight against the oil pipeline, that was the main goal. So the main goal initially was, let's stop this pipeline, right? And then there's others who are generally a bit more broad with their goals and their methods and tactics. And so they are actually not just there to stop oil or stop this specific pipeline, but they want an end to maybe all oil pipelines. And they're considering themselves earth defenders, land defenders, water protectors. I would fall more in line with this category. And so in line with that thinking, some people are coming in with a different goal, not just to stop this pipeline and not just to maybe to oppose the Dakota Access Pipeline, but to spark a bigger movement in their mind of this is the beginning of their revolution, and maybe they can get all these people who are just coming out for the first time to be more extreme and to want to defend the earth in general. Others are saying, how can we funnel some of these people into our NGOs and our nonprofit groups and things like that? And others are only concerned because it's a native issue, and so they came out to defend the indigenous communities. They don't really care about fighting oil. They don't really care about defending the earth over as a whole, but just in general they want to defend native communities. So you've got a range of opinions and views coming in. Not everybody is even on the same ground, but they're united for certain areas for a common front. Definitely everybody comes together, it seems, whenever police violence is employed. How do you start a movement with a specific goal, stopping a pipeline? Others are still okay with just rerouting the pipeline, so even there you have different views. But in general, to stop the pipeline, and then you invite people. You say, we need you here to come support us. We need your bodies on the line. We need your cameras and your audiences and your supporters to be paying attention to what's happening here. How do we go from that and welcome everybody in and do a call out to our brothers and sisters, and without literally having to stop every single person and say, what are your viewpoints? What are your goals? Can we search your vehicle? Are you coming here to be violent? Or are you coming here with this purpose? Having to vet every single person, which is an option. Maybe that's an option that a movement should consider, because also you have the threat of undercover cops just coming in and when you allow for anybody. So, but without doing that, without vetting everybody and searching every single person, what is a strategy we could employ that could get people who are encouraged and want to be involved to have space to do so, but maybe in a targeted, more focused way, so that it's not just tens and thousands of people doing whatever they want, and some of them are just there to party, some of them are just there to hang out in their tents and their teepees. Others are looking for every action they can to encourage or incite violence. Again, people with different tactics, different ideas. My suggestion would be, if a movement gets large, and as the concept of freedom cells, when you have more than 8 people, then you create a second freedom cell, right? So you have 8 to 10 people. Well, then now you've got 20 people. Okay, well, let's split off and have 2 freedom cells, and we can interlock together and become a more powerful force. But we'll also work on our own individual goals within each of those freedom cells, and then we build another and another, and each individual within the first freedom cell turns around and builds their own immediate freedom cell in their neighborhood. Then you have 8 groups of 8 to 10 people, and on and on and on. So this process can be employed. And I think it can be employed in these big movements. So let's say whenever somebody's coming up, they contact and they say they want to come out and join your movement. And maybe when they first come in that gate, if you have them fill out an online form, and let's use technology. Let's say you have an app where you tell people you're building a resistance movement. You have a resistance camp, and if you want to get involved, you got to go take this questionnaire, fill out this thing through our app or whatever, and then it sends information and helps us understand where you may fit in best. So first, the movement would need to define the areas that they need support in. So you got medical, let's say media, let's say security, building roads within the camp. That could be a task itself. Art, propaganda, direct action training. So all these different areas that you identify, and maybe even sub areas within there. And people come in, they answer questions, and you help assign them, whoever the organizers, the ones who are getting the action started, the coordinators, they will help assign everybody to a certain freedom cell area. So you go to the main freedom cell, right? And it's the security freedom cell. Okay, you're interested in being on the security team. Okay, well then they train you in their processes, and maybe even within there, they have a breakdown of 5 or 6 more freedom cells that focus on different parts of the camp or different types of security. And you go to one of those. But together, they are interlocking as one freedom cell, maybe made up of 5 to 6 freedom cells. And then even above that, those security freedom cells also interlock with the medic team, with the propaganda team, and so on and so on. And so you have this larger cell structure that is individual, powerful, and autonomous all on its own, but is also connected to a larger whole, the collective itself. So it's individual, it's powerful in that way, but it's also a collective force whenever need be and can come together. I think this is a way that we could see more organization, but without too much central authority, and allow our movements to still flourish and prosper. And then we wouldn't see infighting. We wouldn't see the breakdown of communication, which is definitely something I saw at Standing Rock, and I think any large movement like that. And it can be better coordinated. It can, and this is just the beginning of the idea. But that's my spiel on how freedom cells, this concept, once again, can come to be the solution, the answer to many of our problems. We need our movements to be organized and focused. Try to employ and look and understand this concept of freedom cells and see how it can make a difference in your life. I also have another video, audio, where I explore more, called Lessons from the Front Lines. It's here on youtube.com/conscious resistance. And it's these tips plus more that I've learned from reporting on not only Standing Rock, but the RNC in 2012 and 2016, the Boston bombings, and Ferguson, Missouri, and several other frontline areas of journalism and activism where I learned many, many things. So check out that video, Lessons from the Front Lines, as well. Thank you guys for listening. I'll talk to you soon. This is Derrick Broze for the Conscious Resistance. Peace.